and seeing my family's mistakes and people around me, I was going to change the lives of everyone. Telling someone that they have lost a child is the worst part of any law enforcement and medical personnel in the world. It eats them up, and not only keeping them up at night, but giving them nightmares. I had the opportunity to taste every kind of alcohol and drug beverage, but it was a huge accomplishment that I was proud of to not try it. I followed the laws, the rules, I played by the game, and I was punished. I was dragged down to the ground. I was going to serve and protect my country, but never had a chance to. Now being able to see people's mistakes and accomplishments, I can say that fun can come from different places. But you must be smart and willing to stand up when someone pushes the limits in order to keep everyone safe, and you may end up saving a life. Every 15 minutes has opened my eyes to see how many lives are lost due to the fact that someone wants to have a little fun for the night. I had the opportunity to hear what some of my fellow students have gone through and how it not only influenced their life, but changed it. We must stand up for life and keep any intoxicated person or anybody unable to drive off the road, not only to save their lives, but the lives of others. As Mario Camilo, the 52nd governor of New York, stated in his Tales of Two Cities speech, now it will happen if we make it happen. If you and I make it happen, and I ask you now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, for the good of all of us, for the love of the great nation, for the family of America, for the love of God, please make this nation remember how futures are built. Thank you, and God bless you.
Hi everybody, my name is Hunter Winslow. I graduated from Clovis North in 2015. I am now a junior at Fresno State, and I'm studying illustration and French, and I used to be a swimmer and a water polo player. But unfortunately, I'm not here to talk about all of those happy things in my life today. I'm here to talk about the sad parts. Before I begin, I would like to show a video to you guys about my father.
Today, huh? Oh, yeah. How low are you going? 10. I think I'm going to go down to like 5. I might go 9. Hi.
The name of my dance is Sing, 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 and we're getting ready to go in a half an hour.
Hi, my name's Frank. I'm the lazy
my dad is being a butthead right now. Bye.
Hi. My name's Frank. I'm a truck driver, and I'm off today. I drive a big truck. You're snorting. I drive a big truck.
My dad's part peed.
I'm drinking Coke and watching TV when I should be out working on my pickup truck. 10-4 Roger. I'm out. That's all. Turn that thing on.
There we go.
That's flat.
Notation for Phil when you want it. No, you grab it.
Let's see you on it.
I only have it on the 30 minutes. You can only take 30 minutes on this thing.
I want to see what you got up under. You're 2. Birthday girl already. It's hard to believe that you're turning to a toddler already. There's so much to do.
It's like, yeah.
Happy birthday.
It's opening.
From Michelle and Lauren. Here. From Michelle and Lauren. We can paint that white for you. And what is
Where's
this?
John?
Oh, man.
Look, it says, every dog has their day.
No, I'll bring
Happy
it to, I'll
birthday,
bring it
big dog.
Thursday to work and you can
Isn't
get
it
it.
Bo? It is so
Okay,
Bo.
if you want to get.
Say, Mom, do you have a birthday message for Dad?
Happy 42nd birthday, honey. And then you have at least 42 more. Love you.
Okay.
I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me?
Now with breaking news.
Frank Winslow died nearly 3 years ago when his Jeep was rear-ended by Perla Vasquez on Highway 168 near Shaw Avenue.
Vasquez admitted she drove without a license that night in October 2011, and prosecutors say she, of all people, should have known better. Police had arrested Vasquez 4 other times for drunk driving. Twice she was convicted.
I thought it was okay to drive. I thought I had sobered up enough to be okay to drive safely. Due to the time that passed, it was about 2 hours. I thought that was more than enough time for me to sober up. I really thought I was okay.
Vasquez said she doesn't remember about 11 miles of her drive from getting on Highway 180 to crashing into Frank Winslow's Jeep at Highway 168 in Shaw.
A jury convicted the driver, Perla Vasquez, of murder.
Well, today she received 15 years to life for the deadly crash.
Widow is now talking about the convicted drunk driver who caused her husband's death.
Now, I will tell you one thing. You do not have to ask many questions when you see the coroner at your door and you know that one person is not accounted for.
Winslow's youngest daughter, Hunter, has not been to the mountains since her dad's death. They did that together.
'Cause I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird you cannot change.
It was 6 a.m. when we got the knock on the door. I was in bed. My plans for the day were to go to a water polo tournament, come back to school, go to a football game, and volunteer in the parking lot. Instead, the coroner came to the door, and I woke up to my mom screaming. I heard my sister run from the room next to me, and I didn't get out of bed. I just sat up and said, not my mom, not my sister, not my dad, not my aunt, not my uncle, not my cousins, not my grandparents, and I just repeated it until I had to get out of bed and find out, because I knew. My mom was in no state to talk to me. Luckily, our neighbor had seen the coroner. We had a gate outside the house, so he helped the coroner come in. He identified the body, and he was able to kind of keep my family in order and ask the questions that needed to be asked and help us make the phone calls. But it was my sister who ultimately told me that at 3:15 a.m., my dad was driving home from his job at Foster Farms and was hit by a drunk driver, and that he did not live. He didn't even make it to the hospital. He was driving home on 168 East towards our house, and where there's an exit for Shaw, that's where she hit him, and as you saw, his Jeep went off. It was a 15-foot drop, and it was the steering wheel that ultimately, anyways, there was actually a off-duty Madera motorcycle officer who was driving past, saw some of the wreck, kept driving and found her, pulled her over a few miles down. She had kept driving That night, the whole day was, I went to the water polo tournament. My friends had heard on the news. I cried while playing water polo, but I got through it. I went through my day, but it didn't hit me until that night when there were so many people at my house. And my mom was in bed, and I curled up next to her, and the ABC 30 popped up, and it said what happened, and it showed her passed out in the back of a cop car. And you know, usually the media, they're not allowed to do that, but the cops were so disgusted by what they saw that they let the media film her. They later found out that it was about a 0.18 to 0.2 at the accident, her blood alcohol level. And the next morning, when they told her that she had killed somebody, she said, "When am I going to be out of here? I have to go to work." The court case lasted 3 years. I was a senior in high school when it finally came out, the decision. I was a freshman when it happened, and you think freshman year is hard. It was pretty dang hard for me. I kind of stuffed it down throughout high school. Senior year, I kind of got a little bit of closure knowing that she'd be going to prison for 15 years to life. But this is my life now. I know that when she is up for parole, I am going to have to go and give a speech to make sure she doesn't get out. And it continues to affect my life. I mean, senior year, I signed to go to UC Berkeley to play water polo. It was my dream. I thought it's gonna be only happy. I got there, and the grief finally hit me because I had been stuffing it down, ignoring it, and now I'm away from my community, away from the people that I knew, and I'm in this strange new place, trying to play sports and just go to school. And I used to have the worst anxiety, just like thinking about pain, because I had felt horrible, horrible pain where the tears don't stop. And so I was so scared of physical pain, just with water polo, and I ultimately had to come home. And it's still, to this day, like just being here, it brings it all up, and it's so hard for me to even sit down and write a speech because there's a wall up. I want to keep pushing it down. I want to not think about it, but then at the same time, I don't want to stop thinking about my father. He's such a wonderful guy. You heard his voice, it's so warm, and the way he would laugh, and his Jeep, it was so pristine, and the way that he would smell like Dove soap, and his beard, and I just want to remember all those things. But sadly, a lot of the time when I think back on him, I think back on this. When people ask me, what do your parents do for a living? I say, my mom does this. And my dad is a truck driver. I never say he was because I don't want to go into it. My mom, to this day, she has a wonderful, wonderful boyfriend who's here today, and she refers to him as her husband because she doesn't want to answer the question. I say my parents. And there's a lot of myths about drunk driving. Like sobering up, like she said, oh, I thought 2 hours was enough time. She ate at Denny's, I think. Okay, number one, food is not gonna sober you up. A shower is not gonna sober you up. A smack to the face is not gonna sober you up. It's only time. My dad, being a truck driver, if he had to drive, he wasn't gonna drink in that 24-hour period. He hardly drank at all, but when he did, he sure as hell wasn't gonna drive. There's another myth. If you have one drink, you're okay. You have no idea how many times, especially at a big school like Berkeley, I was looking around, going to hang out with some water polo people or hang out with some other athletes, and you hear them say, oh, it was one drink, I'm fine. And then I have to literally give my life story. I'm at a restaurant and I'm looking around, I'm counting how many people are drinking, trying to figure out, okay, are they gonna take an Uber? Are they gonna take a taxi? It affects my daily life. You watch a comedy movie, think everything's gonna be okay, and then the joke is they drove drunk and got in an accident. There's a Kanye West song. There's talks about drunk driving drunk, hands on the wheel. No hands on the wheel, that's a song, guys. I hear this stuff like every day of my life, and that's how I have to remember my dad. The other myth is that it only hurts you, the person who's driving drunk. But the truth is, the drunk driver seems to always live, and it affects others. And it doesn't just affect the person it kills, it affects their wife, their daughters, their parents. My grandparents had to bury their son. And you know, when I was a senior, I gave a speech to Clovis North, and I saw some people that I knew making jokes out at the accident, like, oh, like it couldn't land like that, or just making really stupid, inappropriate jokes, and I'm here listening to it. But I'm here to represent the reality. My dad, at the wake, had to wear a hat because his head was caved in. I could barely touch his chest for fear that it was too fragile, and he was covered in makeup, and it didn't even really look like him. At the court case, our lawyer told us, hey, you might want to look away because they're going to show photos of your dead dad. That's the reality, and that is what I am here to represent for you guys. And you need to know that. It hurts way more people than you think it does. Thank you.
On behalf of Madera South High, I would like to say my deepest appreciation to all the agencies. I could not have coordinated this event without you. You guys are the heart and community of Madera. To the parents who were part of the filming, the parents that are here today, thank you so much for allowing your students to participate. Students, Madera South Stallions, you have 3 days until prom, 30 days until graduation. Many birthday parties, weddings, quinceañeras, but let's be honest, drinking might occur. But I ask you to remember this. In my 12 years as Madera South High Activities Director, we've had many dances, pep rallies, but this event, this is what I want you to remember. These keys hold so many possibilities. Driving to your future wedding, driving to your college graduation, and so much. But these keys can do one of two things. They can start a life behind bars, or they can end a heartbeat. Please remember this, end the statistic of every 15 minutes. Student participants, thank you so much. The last 24 hours have been surreal. Stallions, thank you so much. Remember today and make your life unforgettable.